So welcome to Office Hours for Tuesday, August 27th. We are, we've got Thursday night, but this is it for August, is this week. And then we're in the fall, which is terrifying and wonderful. I don't know about you guys, but I love fall in Writerland. It's my favorite time of year. It feels like you can be inside, justified, cozy, reading, writing, and like not feel guilty about not being outside in the sunshine. Doing all the things that people think you should do in the summer that don't involve reading. I don't know who these people are, but still. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that whole cooling down and getting to cuddle up with some tea and a book. So for today, what do we want to tackle? Do people have specific questions beyond our newsletter focus, which was our sort of planned topic?
Well, I wouldn't mind just getting a quick clarity as I get closer to getting these ebooks done. So I could take maybe 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else? Because I don't want
to. I had a question this morning when I went into my website, my WordPress website. I had a little warning message. I'm just trying to pull it up now, so I can't remember the initials on it. Something needed.
Was it that your PHP needed upgrading?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
And the rest of
so I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah, for sure. We can tackle that as well. So that's something that everybody is hitting right now, because every so often so PHP is like what's way behind the things, driving things in the very, very, very backest of technical backends. And what happens is they release a couple new versions of it, and then eventually they formally switch to the next one and they stop supporting the previous one. And so then you have to make the switch. So even though it might work for like 2 years after the other one has been downgraded, bye Denise, it might work for a while after the other one has been downgraded, eventually it will not be supported anymore and you have to change. And that's what's happened right now. And we can dive into that in a second. We'll do Bonnie's first because I know she has to go, but we will sort that out right now and hopefully record it. Yep. So people will be dealing with the same thing. So Bonnie, what do we want to tackle with your ebook stuff?
Okay, so I have somebody working on the cover. I had somebody transcribe the overly formatted version in Word into a not overly formatted version. And so I have questions about the next steps for that, and then a question about timing.
Okay.
So I think what I still have to do is take that now not overly formatted bit and make whatever changes I need to. Like I probably need to take out all the stuff about the publisher of that book at the time, and instead put things in the beginning, like ways like, don't I have to put some things in, like to link to me or to free gifts or something like that? And does that go in the beginning or the end?
Yeah. Well, so combination. So this would be front matter and back matter that we're talking about. So your front matter usually wants to include things like a table of contents, which usually is automated in the generation of it. Usually,
yeah, we already got that.
Yeah, okay. So you'll have your table of contents, you'll have if you have a dedication of the book, you'll want to change your copyright information. That's usually part of your front matter. If you have an introduction or a foreword or a prologue or any of those things, they would all go at the front generally. An introduction, if there's like you introducing the book or anything like that, would also be part of your front matter. And there usually is on the copyright page, you're just confirming who the legal publisher is and including your ISBNs so that if anybody is trying to reach out and contact the publisher to get permission for something, they have somewhere to start, right? Okay. And then your back matter is usually things like your acknowledgements and about the author and where people can connect with you, like on social media or your website. You might have a call to action at the end of this book's information, drawing their attention to the next book that you would recommend they read. So if you have something else related, then that would go at the end of the book as well.
So if I was going to do that, that's kind of my second question is, so do I just put this book out and then the call to action is like, join my mailing list if you want to hear about the next book, or should I actually wait on this and get the second book, the other writing book, done as well so that people can go straight to buying the next one, or do I give them the introduction of, like, what's the best method for that?
How soon do you think the second writing book will be ready?
Well, I guess I just have to do the same thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
So,
good question.
Okay, so here's how you weigh that is usually if you've got enough information about the book to set it up on pre-order, then you could do that and you could have your call to action at the end of this book link directly to the pre-order that's set up for the other one. All you'd need is a cover and a blurb to set that up, right? You don't need your insides to be ready yet. You'd have to know roughly when you're committing to having them, because once you set up a pre-order, your files have to be uploaded within a certain time period of that book going live, right?
Right.
So you need to roughly know what date you can confidently commit to, and give yourself a bit of wiggle room, because you don't want to miss that date. Amazon will freeze your account and not let you publish more things. So that's not as good.
That sounds like too much pressure.
Yeah.
Can I put in, what about like the introduction to the second book and some kind of way to contact me if you want some free stuff or to be told about when it's ready? Or
yeah, so if you start with just a call for people to join your newsletter if they want to be notified when the next book's ready, and then you could put the introduction to the next one in if you want, but for nonfiction, that's not as usual. It's more the blurb that will call people than the introduction, generally speaking. For fiction, if you put a sample from the next book, that tends to get people hooked in a different way, but it depends what kind of content you have in there. So some kind of something that gives them a key of what that's about, whether it's the blurb or whatever. And then you can say, yes, just join my mailing list by clicking here, and I will let you know as soon as it's ready for purchase, basically. And in the meantime, I'll entertain you with free goodies or whatever it is your VIP readers list gets access to, right?
And do you think that's the best way to go? I mean, so, and then where would it go to? Would that link go to a MailerLite?
A MailerLite landing page, ideally, so that even if they're on their phone or their Kindle, when you click that link, it opens and all that's there is that form. There's nothing else to do. You have them fill that out, they get on your mailing list, and then your introduction email for the people on your mailing list gets sent out to them, and it's like, hey, thanks for signing up. This is who I am. This is what's going to happen here in this newsletter setup, and kind of orient them to whatever your relationship via email is going to look like going forward. And then when your other book does come out, you can pop in and you can change that back matter in your book, in your ebook, no problem, right?
Oh, you can?
Oh yeah, you can republish like every week if you want. So,
but then I need new ISBN numbers? Remember, I'm in America.
No. You're just updating your content. You're not actually changing your book. So you can fix a typo and republish your book 24 hours after it's live. You can, every single time you publish something else, you can add those book names to your also buy list, which is usually another thing.
That's great. So I don't have to get hung up on this. I can really just start with whatever and change my mind. Oh, that's very...
Like if you were going to publish your second book in 2 weeks, I would say just wait and do it once so you're not creating work for yourself. But like, if you're, you can update stuff anytime you want. I republish my books probably like 5 times a year. It's not great if you're gonna if you're, shooting to the top of your sales category and you've done all these promos, you don't want to interrupt that in the middle. So it's good to time your updates so that you're not in the middle of some major promotional push when you do it, because you don't want to disrupt those algorithms in the back end. But I mean, really, you're not at that point yet. So you can
No, not at all.
you can change it anytime you want. That's the beauty of an ebook, is you literally can fix it. You can rewrite half another book. You can add articles to it. You can do whatever you want.
That's so cool. Okay, and then once I have it all together, I have to get somebody to help me to upload it all, right? Like the cover and the whatever, the file and all of that, correct?
Well, the uploading we can do in an office hours as a case study if you like, or we can do it separately and record it. That part really doesn't take all that long. You'll have some homework to prep, like your book description and your keywords, and decide what categories you want to be in and stuff. But that part, the actual uploading and setting up of a book generally takes 10 to 15 minutes. That's
the part I'm really intimidated about. So so now I feel better.
Yeah, we'll hold hands for that. It's all good. You've got one step missing in between, though, which is formatting your files, not just uploading them for publication, right?
Yeah, I guess that part I meant too.
Yeah, so there's that bit you can do using, like, the Draft to Digital has a formatting tool, which is free. So you can import your ebook into there and then sort of tweak the formatting. So if you would like, we can schedule for maybe one of our upcoming office hours that we do that live as well, because you're not the only person who's going to want to know how to do that. So if you'd like, we can arrange for that to happen. And
I would love that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All my anxiety is relieved.
Yeah, some of it just doesn't have to be that scary. How do you feel about Tuesday, September 3rd? Are you able to be?
I don't know if my cover I don't know if I'll be ready by then.
You don't need the cover. All you need is the edited Word document. So if it wants to be later than that, that's okay. But
I want it to be later, please.
Okay, that's no problem. And what you need to have ready for us to do the interior layout, and it's just an experiment. It doesn't have to be your final files or anything like that, but when you're ready, we'll just walk through the process to get you comfortable with it. So you just need your Word document that has your book roughly with what you want kind of fixed up for front and back matter. Excuse me, the hiccups here. And then let me know when you're ready, and we'll book you into a time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So, Joanne, PHP fun. We're going to switch gears epically here. All right, who is your host?
Hostgator.
Perfect. Okay. Pull it up. Pull up your Hostgator.
Hostgator?
Yeah, pull up Hostgator. You want to be logged into your cPanel.
Okay. I did download the plugin. And I'm just getting into cPanel. And the plugin told me that the WP migration plugin may not work after I do this.
What was the plugin? There shouldn't be a plugin. If the message is update your PHP. Okay,
so the message was switch over first?
Yeah, so why don't you start in your WordPress dashboard. We're going to double check the error message first before we do this. So open up the back end of your WordPress site and then hit share screen.
Share, There I am.
Okay. Yeah.
So I clicked on learn more about, and it suggested I download a plugin that will test my site and tell me which plugins may be negatively impacted by the change.
You can. I wouldn't worry about it. Everything else is being updated to fit with everything else. And I've done like 19 of these in the last 2 weeks, and none of them broke anything. So I'm feeling pretty confident about that. But what you can do is have you done an all-in-one migration export recently?
Yes, I did all that yesterday. I'm completely safe.
Love it. Okay. So you've got a full site backup.
Here's mine.
Good to go.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna scroll down here. It's a little bit hard for me to see, but scroll down. Keep scrolling. We're looking for there's a section that has a couple of PHP related tools. Oh, not quite. Maybe below this one.
Oh, here we go. PHP bare packages.
Yeah, there's one.
PHP selector.
Yes, that one. We want the PHP selector.
Update.
Wait for the screen to catch up. It wants you to pick a version. So there's a little drop down there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
7.1.
I would not go all the way because that is the least stable of the versions. Usually the next one up, which is going to get you where you want to be. So yeah, 7 is good. And then click update. You always want to be on the most stable, but just forward enough to be functional version that you can get. All right, go back to your WordPress dashboard site.
Refresh.
Yep.
Will I have to do this as well with my Windstorm Press site?
Probably, yeah, if they're hosted in the same thing. Well, if you've, that depends how they're set up. If it's set up as a subdomain, it might do it automatically because you upgraded your account, but it may be that you have to be in your Hostgator and select your other site from the dropdown. We can look at that in a second. So now you should be good. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Go back to your Hostgator and we'll just check if you're, if you've got multiple domains in one hosting account, then you may, if you go back to your control panel, the main part, like click on the Hostgator control panel at the top, or yeah, the back to button works too, whichever way. Yeah, just hit the control panel. We want to go all the way back out. Okay, so on the right-hand side, you can see there's website traffic and then there's select an option and it has drop down.
Oh, yeah.
So if your other site is showing that it also still needs a PHP upgrade, then you can click and select that one and do exactly what we just did for the PHP selector and it will apply to that. But I think I only had to do one and it rippled out to the whole account. But it depends if you've got add-on domains or subdomains or however you've set things up. I think that might make a difference. So yeah, basically check your other site and then
just
have to come
click
back
on it and check it.
Sure. Now, this is one of the advantages of having direct control over your hosting. I have a couple of clients where I like maintain the front side of their site, but they have another hosting company, and I have been working for 3 weeks with one of them to try and get them to do this. And it just is like not working. So yeah, there are upsides.
So this must be okay because no messages, we're good.
Yep. So then you've upgraded your whole Hostgator account and everything in it is good to go. There you go.
Perfect.
Well, that was a good day's work.
I'm happy.
All right.
I'll say. Okay, good stuff.
Okay, so do you guys have mailing list questions or should I be delaying this until the people who had those questions show up, basically?
Yeah, I didn't have, I've been struggling with it because I'm trying to put a round peg in a square hole, however that goes. I was trying to use one of the MailerLite sign-up forms that I'd created to bring people into my mailing list and deliver Boone Park and confirm email and all that. Right. And what I discovered was that wasn't, I don't need to have a form in there. I just have to have a link to BookFunnel. So I was making it too complicated. And it was just this morning when I was prepping for this that I decided I don't need to have that MailerLite embed form in there at all. Yeah. So I took it out, and now I'm just playing around with BookFunnel to make sure that the messages say what I want them to say. I'm calling it my VIP lounge.
Ooh, I like it.
Ooh. Welcome to the lounge.
Excellent.
Anyway, I'll see how that works.
Yeah. Fun.
So you can postpone the rest of this until there are more questions, for sure. Okay. For me, anyway. I don't know about Bonnie.
Bonnie is setting up her website today and will link MailerLite, but that's about it. So
yay!
I will be having more questions, I'm sure, later as I go through it.
That's good. Yeah, so one thing maybe we can talk about, just because I think it's an interesting discussion and something we always have to decide about, is so many of these tools have overlap of like, okay, well, this does 25 things and 5 of them are the same as this other tool, but then that has 20 different things. And so you end up in these situations where you're like, okay, which of these tools is actually like streamlining the process and which is making it more complicated? And, how do I know, could I really get rid of some of the things I'm using, right? If you've improvements in one tool over time, eventually make another thing not necessary. So, I think that's something maybe to talk about. How do you evaluate that, or how do you make sure that you're using a simplest process that you can? I don't know if that would be a useful discussion potentially, or if anybody has specific examples of when they've run up against something that feels more complicated than it needs to be.
Sure. I'm currently trying to set up Asana, but then I heard other people talk about Trello and Omni something, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should look at all these before I set up on one platform. So I'm a little confused on how to evaluate. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is there's some stuff that plays better than others, and some stuff that will integrate better than others, and some stuff that doesn't really matter which one you pick as long as it feels good to you and you actually enjoy using it.
Right.
So let's talk about, what are you looking for in a task and project management system? Like, how do you see using that as part of your process?
Well, I want to use it for myself, for the writing, but I also want to use it for work. So I need it to be able to interact nicely with iPhones, cell phones, so that my team can get, when I allocate things to them, they can get notification that, hey, because my daughter is part of my team and she's going back to school. And if she can't get on top of certain things, I need to know, like, next day that she was unable to do it, so that I can do it in time for filing or mailing or checking or so I kind of need something that I don't really want to have different programs for writing and for work. I kind of like them all one, but I don't want her to get notifications about my writing. So I'm not sure how all the notification type things work. And
Okay.
And whether or not they're cell phone friendly.
Yeah. Well, and definitely they all have apps. So that part, I think, not so much of an issue. They may be differentially to use. The Asana one is pretty good, actually, at sorting. One of the things to think about is, do you want a separation? Like, you can control notifications for people of who's part of what projects, but do you, when you look at your list of things to do in a day, do you want to see in one dashboard your work stuff and your writing stuff? Or do you want to have to like switch to a different digital workspace to see that? And I don't mean a whole different tool. I just mean, like, when you look at today's tasks, do you want to see them mixed up?
I'm actually fine either way, but because my writing tasks are left specific dates at this stage in my life. I mean, later, hopefully it'll be all specific dates. But right now it's like, in a month, the 20th doesn't matter. Whereas work is very specific dates. So, so it might be easier to have them separate, you know, so
Well,
that, you know.
and here, why don't I'm going to show you, I'm just going to show you my Asana in the back end, and you can see, and they will work similarly, the different tools. So this is one of the things I like about Asana, is that this is set up so that there are different workspaces, or teams they call them, inside Asana. So if you have you
invited us to a team, so I kind of have two teams.
yeah, exactly. So you can sort your projects by team, and that requires being set up with your own domain. There are two types of Asana accounts, which is important to know. There's no fee for the business one, but the business one is set up on your own company, basically. And so you can just email them and ask them to switch you, I think, and they will. But the company one allows for teams. The personal one does not. And what that means is you can then have in your one dashboard, you can have a team for your writing. So I have a CJ Hunt Romance one, I have a Creative Academy one, and I also have a consulting company one in here. And different people can be part of those different teams. So they're still in your workspace, but they can't see anything that's not in their team. Okay. You have effectively all these different groups and people with different access on those, right? So that is a nice way to do it without having actual workspace switches. So these are for other Asana working groups that aren't mine. I don't own them. They're not inside of here. Like our Surrey conference uses Asana, and so we have a different workspace entirely, and then different teams inside of that. So it lets you keep all your stuff that you're in charge of or control in one space. And then in your inbox, you get notifications from all of them.
Okay.
You have one inbox, and that way if something's happening on the work side, it will show up in here. Or if it's, less now, but like when you eventually you might have a cover designer or somebody helping with layouts, and you might have them in here so that they can be part of your team and check things off as they're done and keep you notified. This gives you a lot of flexibility, and you can have guests in a team. So even if it's not somebody who's permanently part of your space, if you're just working temporarily with somebody who is willing to use Asana with you, maybe an ongoing critique partner relationship or an ongoing editing relationship, then that can be very valuable to be able to invite them to a certain thing, and then you both have access to the same information. So that's one way. And in the My Tasks, you can color code your projects. So even within a single team, you might have different color codes for different things, right? So in your writing one, maybe you have a certain color that's coded for writing time and a certain that's coded for promotional stuff. Maybe those are all green, right? Or the business side of things might be gray. Whatever you figure out for your system, you can code that. But then when I come in here and I'm looking at like, okay, today, what am I committed to? I can very easily see like, okay, what day has too much on it when you do get to thinking about like, how am I gonna, reassign stuff? Then it just gives you the flexibility to, at a glance, see how committed things are. And so I don't put calendar items in here. The calendar items would stay on here. And then at the beginning of the week, you kind of go in and look at, all right, well, if I have a whole bunch of work stuff that has to happen on, Tuesday, then I don't plan a writing block for that day. I know that I need to, take care of other stuff during that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And if you like the calendar view in here for tasks, you can also click on the calendar view and it shows you. So I like to have a rule, like I can only have, one writing an author related task on a day, and those are pink when they show up with a date tagged on them. So then if you do have a flexible thing, like I know that my publishing tasks are quite flexible, like I need to do them, but it's only when I have writing blocks.
Yeah.
So then I just come in, and when it's writing time on the calendar, I come in and I look at, okay, what's on my list that I tackle next? And I put them in order of importance usually. And then I dive in at that point. So, you know, I may have a list of, I don't know, whatever in here. It's all subtasks. And that way, when you're doing your project planning, you can dump all of the breakdown of tasks for something into that space. And you don't have to assign dates to it, but you know, like, these are all the things I have to do. And then when a blog post pops up that says you should also be doing this during launch, you just put it in your Asana so that it's all, the information is collected there. Yeah. And I find a reference section also very helpful in here so that everything is held in one place. So if I've got, like, this is my year's publishing plan, which is not really a thing anymore. This is like a 5-year plan, by the way, not all 1 year. So
Okay.
but yeah,
holy, it's got lots in there.
No. You can take a look at, like, your reference stuff so that everything is held where you need it. There is the option in Asana to do an export of a project so that you can export it all to PDF. Like, if you decided you wanted out at some point of this, or you wanted an archive of, like, everything you accomplished that year, you can do an export of everything. It's pretty cool. So that's handy. I don't know. So I can't give you a full-on lowdown of the others. I can tell you I have used Trello with different organizations, which is also nice. I didn't prefer it enough to switch. Let's put it that way. And what was the third one? Oh, OmniFocus. I used that for years because it was way before all these other cloud-based things. And it's a Mac only, and it's entirely built around David Allen's system of getting things done. Have you ever read the Getting Things Done book? So that software was designed to help you implement his strategy of getting things done. And it uses, like, contexts and people and things. So you tag your tasks by, like, I need internet to do this, or I need Jared to do this, or whatever. And so when you, let's say you have a meeting with somebody set up. So I've got, okay, I'm going to see Jared at 6 o'clock today. I would pull up everything in that context, and it would have this list of things to do. It has, like, the app, you can enable locational alerts so that one of your contacts might be at the grocery store, and it's like your shopping list. And when you walk close enough to the location of your grocery store address that you have tagged, it'll pop up on your phone and be like, don't forget these items. So, like, there's stuff like that.
Too much.
Yeah, right? It's like, okay. So I really liked OmniFocus, but it doesn't play well with anybody who's not on Mac. I think there's still not a PC version of it. For integration and Teams, I haven't used it for a number of years, so it's quite possible that it is leaps and bounds better, but it's also a paid tool. They're just not free. So, you know, when you're looking at teams and multiples of people, anytime you can not pay for stuff is better. Asana has like 10 levels of amazingly next level stuff in it that is all paid functionality, and we don't pay for it. So, but we've been able to do a pretty substantial amount with the free version over the last.
That one that you showed us is the free version?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Nice.
and you can do just about anything with it. So that's the other thing. Like, so when you're evaluating a tool, looking at, okay, how is this going to work in my process? Like, you know, is it going to muck up my day to see both my writing tasks and other tasks together in one place? And originally I thought it would, and I actually purchased a $50 lifetime membership to another tool called Plutio so that I could have my writing stuff in one space and my business stuff in the other, and it didn't work for crap, to be honest. I just found then I was like not having a realistic idea of like, well, if I have 9 things that are actually due in my writing world, I'm not seeing that when I'm booking stuff in the other one. So it was causing problems that way. And it felt better to partially integrate it and then use the teams and projects to keep the other things separate. And the colors, of course, is always fun. Also, and this may seem silly, I like the unicorns and the little magical creatures, and like I want to be rewarded for checking things off my list. And yes, I'm like 5-year-old with glitter shoes inside, and I'm okay with that. So having the celebrations and the extra love or whatever they call it enabled in Asana means that I randomly get a unicorn. And as silly as it is, it actually works. And that was a huge selling point for me. I know. And it's ridiculous. Like, these two tools could be identical, and one could have unicorns and one could not. And that could be a deciding factor. So
I pick the unicorn. Sure.
Right. Yeah.
I'm team unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the little yetis, and there's like phoenixes, and there's all kinds of new creatures in there. It's very exciting. So, I know that works
cool.
for me, and that's great. That's important. So whether or not it's going to suit your process, is it fun to use, or at the very least doesn't suck to use? Because, I've tried, I don't know, I've probably used 25 of these different like project management programs with different clients who already had stuff set up, and we were just in their system or just experimenting with different things to see were they better than what we had. And, Trello, Slack, although Slack's like a slightly different thing, but Trello, Slack, and OmniFocus were 3 of the most successful ones I don't currently use. And then the Asana's been the winner. Just in the way the interface feels and sort of how deep into the levels you can get, and the way it works to interact with people, and the accessibility of the free is always good and works on any computer. The downside is it does require internet. So if you are doing a lot of traveling where you don't have internet access, this is maybe not a good solution. You might be better to use the tasks and stuff like in your, even iCal if you're syncing. If you're working with anybody else, it basically has to play nicely with other people. So
this is actually raising a question for me because I have had some very weird things happening with Outlook, and I use Outlook, PC Word Outlook, for all of my email, and I also keep a list of tasks in there, and I extensively use the calendar. But what's happening is Outlook is randomly deleting things from my inbox on my website email, my jpmclean@jpmcleanauthor.com. And I can't figure out how. It's just started doing it, and I was shocked to see it happen. So I've created a safety delete, and everything now that I want to delete goes into the safety delete, so that if I open up the trash, I can see what they've deleted on me and put it back in the inbox. But this is a real problem, and I don't know how to fix it. And I'm not the only one. I've done some Googling, and other people are having that problem. So I've been looking for alternatives to Outlook.
And you're on a PC or a Mac? You're PC, right? Because there are alternate mail programs as well that work really great. Let me just check. I use Spark. And I'm just going to see if that is for PC. There you go. Okay. So let me give you a little sneak peek here. Make sure nothing that shouldn't.
And is this a paid tool?
I think I did pay for it. Yeah. Okay. So, here we go. There's nothing embarrassing or inappropriate in here that I can't share. All right. So just make sure I'm not like divulging client passwords or anything on screen. Okay. So what Spark lets you do, which is fascinating, it has a few functionalities that are very cool, is you can import all the accounts you want. So these are each different email addresses that are actually imported to one place for me. So pulls everything together, which lots of the programs do that. It has a smart sort function, which is what I have turned on, where notifications from sites you follow are kind of all grouped together. Anything it thinks is a newsletter, it puts in this category. And then so the inbox is consolidated all of the addresses together in your inbox. But you can also look, if I only want to see like what's in the Creative Academy stuff, then I can open just that one. My favorite functionality ever is the ability to snooze things. So let's say I get a whole bunch of newsletters and I really only want to read my newsletter content on like a Friday afternoon, because I know that's my lowest energy time, and that's a great time to like sift through and get whatever links to post in the Creative Academy, or think about new tools or processes or whatever. So if I click on this, oh wait, that's a different thing. If I click here, I can snooze it, and I can pick, do I want to see it tonight or whenever? I've set up my defaults of when I snooze things for different reasons. But I can also just pick a date, and I can see, yeah, that can come back on like Saturday at say like 9 a.m. So if you have an email that you really can't process right now, but you don't want it gone, you set it to snooze and it shows up. If you change your mind, you can look in your snoozed. These are all the ones that I've delayed. So like sometimes like I know, okay, I need to get in touch with James and rebook an interview. And I set it months ago to snooze to September 1st because I knew that's roughly when I would be ready to deal with that. And so you can pick when these things reoccur. Now, normally I would just make an Asana task and I would put a date of contact James. But sometimes you want to have the context and all of the information in the email for when you're dealing with it. Now, the other way to do that is in here, this actually plays with Asana in a couple of ways. So you can actually create a link to this email in here, and then I can open my Asana and I can paste it into a task in Asana. And Eileen or Donna, if it's something for both of us, they can just click that link and see the whole contents of the email. So that's one way to do that. And you can also, if I add a service, I can add Asana in here, and I can actually just click a button and it will send the whole email string directly as a PDF into Asana and create a task for it. So if you want to like save all that stuff into somewhere, you can do that with one click.
Can you have rules like you do in Outlook?
Yeah, there's rules. You can do all kinds of stuff with
rules, like
automated filing and automations and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And is there, I see a calendar here. Can you put tasks on a calendar?
I think you can. I haven't used this yet.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
You can. Okay, that's great.
You can put events and
I like.
whatever else. And when there's a date for something in an email, it pops up and it's like, do you want to make this be on your calendar? So yeah, you could integrate that. I don't know about their task management stuff specifically in here, but I feel like that might be an extension. I would double check their website, because like I've been using it for so long that I just don't mess with the existing system. So they've added a ton of features since I started using it, and I mostly ignore them.
And do you pay every year or monthly, or how do you pay for that?
No idea. That's an excellent question. Let's see. So much of this stuff is automated, and Jared was doing all our bookkeeping. So it's free to get started. That gives you 5 gigabytes. And this is actually, you can have team-based interactions and emails. Like you can comment, you can like share an email with a team member and get them to comment on it and stuff right in Spark as well. So it has collaborative tools in it too, but free is 5 gigabytes of storage. You can have 2 active collaborators on shared drafts of things. Like if you're writing a draft email to go out, you can have people give you feedback on that draft right inside of it. You can have 5 different email templates. You can have sharing with links like I had there.
What does that mean, email templates?
That's like you can save, like let's say I frequently send a welcome to the Creative Academy email with additional instructions on something. I can save it as a template, and all I have to do is change the person's name. Or if I'm like weekly getting an inquiry from somebody about, you know, how they do X, Y, or Z, then I could template that response and have it just ready to send.
I see.
Okay. And you can have, I don't know, something about email delegation. Again, I've not used any of that stuff. So honestly, you could probably get away with the free one. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say probably Spark is free. Which may be why I don't know how I pay for it. Maybe I don't. I know originally you had to like download the app from the App Store or whatever for Mac, and I feel like it might have had like a $20 cost or something at the time, but that was years ago, and I've not ever noticed it charging me since. So
I wonder how they make their money, the people at Spark.
oh, the enterprise stuff. Like there's always the premium and other levels. Big corporations who use it and stuff. Yeah. And some of these things were created as like open source projects originally, and then they sort of corporatized it. But, yeah.
And is it an online tool as well? Like, can you see what's in your inbox when you're not online?
I don't think it's cloud-based, but maybe. I've only ever used it on my computer. And so it updates when you connect, and it does sync in all the places, but I don't know if it's cloud-based or not. I mean, obviously some part of it is, but the actual interface is always on my laptop or my phone. It has a phone apps as well, and like the iPad, whatever.
Need that.
And they work in sync, like they play nice together. Yeah. I just found
I'm going to check it out because
functional.
Need it.
Yeah. And if you are,
Fantastic.
It's also really good if you're somebody who has a business side and a creative side that you really want to keep separate. So for me, I find it really stressful if all like my reader emails are mixed in. So I actually use the native Mac mail on my computer is what's connected to my author email addresses. And then all of my CJ Hunt romance communication is done through Mac mail. And I only use Spark for all of the other business and administration and publishing business stuff, so that when I'm like my author self, that stuff all goes into the other account. And that lets you keep it in a separate dashboard entirely. So if that's something that's important to you, I was finding when I was going to check my author emails on the weekend and my business emails were popping in because people work all the time, I was feeling super distracted and frustrated, and it would like wrench me out of creative mode and just make me aware of all this business stuff that was sitting and needing to be looked at. And so physically separating them was important in a way that is not with the tasks, if that makes sense. Like the communications is urgent because there's another person, and you know, you can just schedule your tasks for work days in Asana. You control that, but you can't control when people email you about stuff. And so controlling when you check it and how and where is really important. And then I could also, if I want my author email connected on my phone for when I'm traveling, I can have that, and I can leave my business email disconnected on my phone because I don't want to actually have that when I'm traveling. So yeah, it lets you just place boundaries in a different way to have those things separate. And different signatures and different looks and different tones and all of that stuff. Mentally switching if you have a difference in your sort of multiple personalities, or maybe you're writing fiction and nonfiction and whatever, and you want to keep those separate, that's a way to do it. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anything else around that? We've got 6 more minutes. Any other random items completely unrelated? Also fine. Or you can have 6 more minutes to go and get some work done.
No, that was good. I noticed that the Spark didn't seem to have a PC component, but since I usually read my email on my iPad, that's probably not a problem.
I thought
it doesn't have a PC?
No, it
really
does say Outlook and Exchange, so it must work with them somehow, or I'll replace them. I'm not sure.
Spark Mail app says for iPhone, iPad, Mac, and it's Android.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't have actual PC.
No.
Well, shoot. Okay. And there are a couple other kind of equivalent ones. that do similar things. Best email program for Windows. Let's see. So Thunderbird is a common one. That's a Mozilla product, which I have used in the past, which also works pretty good. Opera Mail is another one that a lot of people use. Mailbird I'm not familiar with, but it is mentioned in here. And Postbox is another one that came up there. And
Okay.
here's a list of the best free email clients available, supposedly. And they've got EM client, which I've never seen, but does look a lot like Spark inside. And that comes up as their #1 choice, and looks like you can download it to your thing. And yeah, there's a few more in there that I have not come across as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go through them and see which one suits.
There you go.
But
You've got
yeah,
all of the
I have to
options.
be able to use it on my.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bonnie, for spotting that.
Yeah, nicely done. Well, thank you for coming. And to anybody who's watching, if you have other email programs that are fantastic and wonderful that you love, do share that. And we will see how all of that shakes out. And this Thursday evening is office hours at 7 p.m. as per usual. We'll see you there.
Alrighty. I'll be on holiday, so I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. Okay. Have fun. Bye.
Bye now.